Hey guys, it's Mike with Riding in the Ozarks, and we are here at the Las Vegas Speedway today riding the brand new 2024 CVO ROAD GLIDE ST. Now this is the metallic Raven here. This one has got this flake in the paint. It is a beautiful bike. We've got carbon fiber inlays here in the dash. They're celebrating 25 years of CVO with this bike, as well as releasing their first real performance bag. I've had this thing out on the track already, followed Travis Wyman around the track on this thing, and it is a performance bagger from the factory. They've got different risers on this, different bars on this. There's new controls. This thing is awesome. Of course, we're looking at the new body style that they released mid-year last year for the CVO and Road Glides that I rode in Sturgis. But this bike has got a whole new tuned suspension on it. It is really amazing. They've got mini floorboards on the ST version here. There's some other neat features in this thing. We're gonna get into the specs. I just wanted to show you guys this bike. We've got carbon fiber back here, carbon fiber on the front fender up here. And this thing is a whole lot of fun to ride. We've got wave rotors up here in the front. This is an addition this year to the braking system on it. They've even got carbon fiber tips on the exhaust back here. So, I mean, Harley's like really paying attention to the details here. Now, these have remote reservoirs for the rear suspension, and it has fully adjustable front and rear suspension, but the remote reservoirs are Harley Davidson. They're not Öhlins this time, like we've seen on some of the bagger stuff they've done in the past. Now, on the other side over here, you guys can't see it, but there's a Fast Johnny decal on this plate over here on the left side of the bike to represent the racing aspect of the bike, and they have that on all of their King of the Bagger race bikes. A lot of this bike really comes from the development with the King of the Baggers racing bikes, including ride modes on this bike have Track and Track Plus. Those are like personally tailored based off of Kyle Wyman's preferences and his throttle setup on his racing bike. So, I mean, you're really getting a performance bagger based on what they have learned on the King of the Baggers race series. I am known for my coverage of the details and specs when reviewing motorcycles, so we're about to get into and explain why this is truly a factory performance bagger. But first, I want to discuss the confusion and all the comments I got about the subscription navigation topic. The navigation is enabled by default on the CVO model, but on the regular Street Glide and Road Glide, you do have to pay $350 one time to enable navigation, and that will include real-time traffic and weather updates and map updates during the subscription period. But navigation will remain enabled after the 3-year period, but you will lose the real-time updates unless you continue the subscription. If you're an Apple user, you do not need to pay for the subscription to be able to use Apple CarPlay for navigation instead of the built-in navigation. But if you're an Android user, you will have to pay for the subscription to enable the navigation because Google has dropped support for Android Auto on two-wheel vehicles. This is not a Harley Davidson thing. I'm already seeing comments online where people are claiming to be able to get around this using other hardware, but I'm not able to confirm that is a real possibility. Also, to note, you will need a Bluetooth headset to enable Apple CarPlay, but that does not mean it requires a Cardo or Sena unit. I've seen reports that people have been able to enable it using AirPods. I was able to use it with my Cardo Pack Talk Edge and actually test it on the street ride the next day where I reviewed the 2024 Street Glide. If you want to see the review of the Street Glide, please stay tuned to the channel and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, because that video will be coming out in just the next week or two. Also, I'm a big fan of Cardo, and I recently upgraded to the Pack Talk Edge. If you're not running a Pack Talk Edge and you're thinking about it, I've got a link in the description where you can get the Edge and save 10%, and it will help support the channel. Now let's talk more about the specs and features on this performance bagger. 1. The engine. I mean, the engine is the heart of this beast, and this Milwaukee 8 121 high output has compression ratios of 11.4 to 1 and produces 145 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM and 127 horsepower at 4,900 RPM. This engine also has a red line of 5,900 RPM, which is higher than the 5,600 RPM limit on the Milwaukee 8 117 in the new 2024 Touring model. We also get race-inspired new intake that flows 26% more air than the Milwaukee 8 VVT 121 airbox, which contributes to the increased power output, and the new design offers more rider leg clearance than the Screaming Eagle Heavy Breather Extreme Air Cleaner, and it helps produce a more aggressive sound. To get maximum power, VVT was eliminated on the CVO ROAD GLIDE ST, and because of that, they gained 2 pounds of weight savings while increasing the top-end peak power at the cost of a little bit of bottom-end torque and fuel efficiency. To enhance acceleration, they went from a 32-tooth sprocket to a 30-tooth sprocket for a lower final drive ratio. 2. Weight. The design team and engineering team went to extremes to shave weight everywhere they could, and as a result, the bike ships dry at 800 pounds. That's 25 pounds lighter than the 2024 CVO ROAD GLIDE and 6 pounds lighter than the 2023 ROAD GLIDE ST. Some of this weight savings comes from a new process of creating the triple trees, and they saved significant weight there, which improves the handling of the motorcycle as well. In addition, the mufflers they use are lightweight titanium shells and forged carbon fiber end caps. Forged carbon fiber front fender, seat cowl, and tank consoles also help reduce weight. The compact floorboards are lighter than the standard floorboard, and the wheel design and wave-style front brake rotors are optimized to minimize unsprung weight. 3. Suspension. In the front, we get a Showa 47mm inverted front fork, which are adjustable for preload and may be used to set the suspension height for the rider weight and desired vehicle attitude. Rebound and compression dampening adjustments may be used to adjust the suspension response to the road conditions or the rider preference. Inverted forks clamp the larger diameter outer tube in the triple tree, which stiffens the front end for more precise handling. The front suspension is also 4.6 inches of travel. In the rear, we get dual outboard Showa remote reservoir shock absorbers with preload adjustment that can be used to set the suspension height for the rider weight and desired vehicle attitude. It includes rebound and compression dampening adjustments, which can be used to set the suspension performance characteristics based on the road conditions or the rider's preference. The remote reservoir keeps the shock, oil, and gas separated to maintain the best performance under demanding conditions. The reservoirs are located between the rear fender and each saddlebag and are easily accessible to adjust and enhance the look of the motorcycle. Rear suspension travel is also 3 inches. I was asked by my audience to pay special attention to the suspension and how the suspension feels to me personally, and I can say after riding for 90 plus minutes on a racetrack that this suspension is excellent for that environment. I know the race team was involved in setting up the suspension for the racetrack and spent a lot of time of dialing the suspension in on this bagger to make sure it performs optimally for these types of riding conditions. 4. Brakes. The new wave-style front brake rotors are 320 millimeters in diameter, and the wave shape of the outer edge of each rotor is intended to reduce weight of the rotor and help dissipate heat more efficiently than a perfectly round rotor. We have dual front disc brakes with Rayleigh-mounted monoblock 4-piston Brembo calipers. Rayleigh-mounted calipers provide better caliper-to-disc alignment and are also more rigid as the caliper is secured on both ends rather than just on one end as a common axle caliper is mounted. Radial calipers are designed to offer the rider more braking power and improved feel over traditional axle-mounted front calipers. The single rear brake features a 4-piston Brembo caliper with a 300mm diameter rotor. I rode this bike on the track, in track and track plus mode, which disables the link braking, and I was working the front and rear brakes independently as I put down laps, and I can tell you, I really felt the braking on this motorcycle was excellent. But that's probably no surprise to anyone that understands the difference between radially mounted and axially mounted braking. But the feel and performance of the brakes on this motorcycle were amazing. 5. Wheels and tires. The new 2024 CVO ROAD GLIDE ST features new gloss black cast aluminum wheels featuring a forward functional design to minimize mass and unsprung weight for enhanced suspension performance. The tires are co-branded Dunlop Harley Davidson with a front size of 130, 60, B19 and a rear size of 180, 55, B18. I really love the look of these new wheels and the wave cut rotors on the front. I think they give this motorcycle a very aggressive and performance oriented style. 6. Rider mode. On the CVO ROAD GLIDE ST, we get 5 predetermined modes and 4 custom modes. Let's talk about it. We have Road mode for daily use, which delivers a balanced performance offering a less aggressive throttle response and less mid-range power than sport mode, with a balance of ABS and traction. Sport mode is going to enhance the performance potential of the motorcycle with full power and quickest throttle response, and traction control is set to its lowest level of intervention and engine braking is increased. Rain mode gives the rider greater confidence when riding in the rain and when traction is otherwise compromised, building the rider's confidence as they become familiar with the motorcycle's throttle response while power is significantly restrained and the rate of acceleration and engine braking is limited and the highest level of ABS and traction control intervention are selected. The 4 custom modes will allow you to create a performance characteristics to meet your personal preferences or special situations. What I was really impressed with are the final 2 modes, Track and Track Plus. Track mode was specifically designed for track day riding on a dry track, closed course, and it was developed with the input of Harley Davidson's factory team racer Kyle Wyman, with the desired throttle mapping for the best feel of torque delivery in a racetrack environment that gives the rider smooth, repeatable throttle response on corner exits. Rear to front electronically linked braking is disabled to allow independent rear trail braking capability and consistent front lever feel as the ABS and traction control interventions are set to a reduced level. This allows for greater rider control. I spent most of my time in track mode, but I felt like the throttle response was excellent in this mode. I preferred it over sport mode as it was just extremely refined and smooth, and I really felt I had great control over the motorcycle. I did spend my final session on the track in Track Plus mode, so I did get about 6 laps with this level turned on, which is intended for experienced riders who want maximum control but still appreciate the benefit of rider safety enhancements working in the background, in addition to specifically tuned power delivery of track mode. This mode also disables electronic linked braking entirely, giving fully independent control of both brakes to the rider. ABS settings have an even further reduced level of intervention, which also permits significantly higher levels of rear wheel slip under braking or aggressive downshifts to further enhance the rider control in a track setting. The traction control intervention is set to its lowest level to maximize both straight line and cornering acceleration and to put control in the rider's hands. I did a whole 6 laps in Track Plus mode, and you do have to be conscientious of the fact that you no longer have linked braking, but if you're used to working the front and rear brakes, you'll appreciate this mode when you really want to start dragging the feelers around the track. I never even turned the audio system on, but I should mention that the Road Glide ST model is equipped with a high-performance Harley-Davidson audio powered by Rockford Fosgate Stage 2 system with 3-way 6.5-inch fairing speakers that are capable of 150 watts RMS per speaker, and it is powered by a 4-channel 500-watt RMS amplifier. That's all the specifics we're going to talk about for today, but I want to tell you, if you were able to get an opportunity to ride this motorcycle on the track with someone like the Wyman brothers, it's an experience you'll never forget. I don't think I'm the fastest rider, and my bike doesn't have the most horsepower, but I'm not afraid of speed. And I live in an area where we're constantly dragging saddlebags or exhaust or floorboards, so I'm used to getting down in a corner. This motorcycle was made to eat the back highways of the Ozarks up. The only problem is I don't have a CVO budget, but a guy can dream, and maybe one day I can pick up one of these bikes used. I want to give a quick shout out and thank all of the other channels for welcoming the new guy riding in the Ozarks at the press event. And I especially want to take a minute to thank Harley Davidson for giving me this opportunity. I was the smallest channel there, and at times I wondered what I was doing there. But because I have such a passionate audience for Harley Davidson motorcycles, I somehow made the list. So if you want to see me invited back, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know, what do you think of this new factory performance bagger from Harley Davidson? Let's talk about the colors and pricing. The CVO ROAD GLIDE ST is about $500 cheaper than the CVO ROAD GLIDE and Street Glides, and while you get more performance, you don't get some of the other features like heated grips. The base price, which is $43,000, gets you black trim, ABS, security system, cruise control, premium radio, rider safety aids, and navigation on top of all this performance suspension and engine package. It's available in golden white pearl or raven metallic. Take a look at these 2 pictures and tell me which one do you think I look better on, the white or the black. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all stay safe. Keep on riding.